Hi, I'm William Hayes, and this is my Mountain Issues project over the Appalachian Mountains. I grew up in Maine, surrounded by the northern end of the Appalachian Mountains, so this region has always felt like a home to me. The landscape, especially places like Mount Katahdin, shaped my connection to the outdoors and sparked my interest in geology as I got older. Even though this project focuses on a different part of the range, specifically West Virginia and Pennsylvania, I chose it because the issues tied to coal and economic collapse are most visible and well documented here. But I still see these stories as connected to the landscape I grew up in. The region's history, identity, and challenges are part of the larger Appalachian story that's still unfolding, and that's what I wanted to explore in this project. One of the biggest issues facing the Appalachian Range today is the economic decline that followed the closure of the coal plants and the collapse of other major industries. Many communities in West Virginia and Pennsylvania relied almost entirely on coal or manufacturing jobs. When those jobs disappeared, people were left with few other options. Unemployment spiked, poverty rates went up, and younger people started moving away. On top of the economic fallout, many of these areas are still dealing with environmental damage from past mining, like polluted water and toxic runoff. These problems haven't gone away and have continued to affect people's health. Things like cancer and respiratory illnesses are more common in these former coal towns. This issue isn't just economic, it's about public health, land use, and long term survival for entire communities. The decline in Appalachian coal wasn't just caused by one thing, it was the result of several large scale changes happening all at once. First, natural gas became cheaper and more widely available, which made coal less competitive. At the same time, renewable energy started to grow quickly, especially solar and wind, both of which are now much cheaper than coal in many areas. On top of that, new environmental regulations made it harder and more expensive to keep older coal plants running. Globalization and automation also played a role. Many jobs in mining and manufacturing were replaced by machines or moved overseas. Finally, a lot of the easy to reach coal in the Appalachian Mountains have already been mined. What's left is harder and more expensive to get, which makes it less attractive in today's energy market. All these forces combine to collapse the coal industry almost overnight in some towns. These two towns, Homer City in Pennsylvania and Millinocket in Maine, show how some different parts of Appalachia were hit by similar problems. Homer City was built around a coal plant that ran for over 50 years. When it shut down in 2023, the town lost a major source of jobs and identity. Now, there are plans to turn that site into a $10 billion natural gas-powered data center campus for AI. While it's still early, it shows how some communities are trying to move into new industries. Millinocket faced something similar after the Great Northern Paper Mill closed in 2008. The town struggled for years, but is now slowly recovering by focusing on outdoor tourism and conservation. It's also right next to the Katahdin Woods and Waters National Monument, which has helped attract hikers, campers, and new investment. These two towns are in very different parts of the Appalachian Range, but both show how places with deep industrial roots are now trying to adapt and survive in the changing world. These issues in Appalachia connect directly to the themes we've talked about in class. First, there's isolation. Many of these towns are far from major cities or transportation networks. That makes it harder for people to find work, for businesses to grow, and for new industries to take root. Then, there's the idea of highland and lowland linkages. Appalachian towns produce the energy and raw materials that powered the rest of the country, but they didn't get to keep the wealth. When the demand dropped, they were left behind. Environmental degradation is another big theme. These communities still live with polluted water, abandoned mine sites, and damaged ecosystems, long after the companies have left. And finally, there's the idea of identity and resilience. Even though there's all this hardship, there's still a strong sense of pride in these communities. You can see people fighting to rebuild, protect their environment, and create something new. The collapse of industry in Appalachia didn't just affect jobs, it changed the way people live and interact with the land. On the human side, job loss led to widespread poverty and outmigration. Many younger people left, which makes it harder for towns to sustain things like schools, hospitals, and other public services. This isolation also contributes to higher rates of addiction and crime in some areas. Health is another major issue. People living near former mining sites often deal with contaminated water and poor air quality. That's been linked to higher rates of cancer, lung disease, and other chronic health conditions. On the environmental side, the damage is often long term. Surface mining stripped away forests and topsoil. Streams have been polluted by toxic runoff from abandoned mine lands. Even decades after the mines close, the effects are still showing up in the land and in the water. These impacts make it harder for communities to recover, but they also show why sustainable solutions are so important. Even though the challenges are serious, many Appalachian communities aren't waiting for outside help. They're finding ways to move forward on their own. In Homer City, the old coal plant is being redeveloped into a massive data center campus. It's a huge shift from coal to tech, but it's an example of how infrastructure can be reused in new ways. In Millinocket, people are turning to the outdoors, with access to hiking, camping, and public lands like the Katahdin Woods and Waters National Monument. Tourism is bringing in new money and energy. At the same time, there are retraining programs that help former coal workers learn trades in renewable energy, construction, and small business. These aren't quick fixes, but they show that people are willing to adapt in the region. There's a strong sense of identity and pride that's pushing forward creative local solutions that work for each community.